In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the Star Ledger, El Nuevo Coquí, Haiti Progress, and Luso Americano newspapers, and by distribution to administrative offices of the Newark Public Schools. A copy of this meeting notice was forwarded to City Hall for posting. This is a regular board meeting, Tuesday, September 24, 2019, 6:06.
All right, if everyone can please stand for the flag salute, and if Board Member Gomez can lead us tonight, thank you. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Anderson?
Present. Present.
Mr. Bledsoe? Ms. Garcia?
Present.
Ms. Gomez?
Present.
Ms. Haynes? Ms. Hill? Ms. Murray Thomas?
Present.
Ms. Norton?
Present.
Mr. Padilla?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Liz. And now I would like to bring up our principal of Malcolm X Shabazz High School, Nasid Gifted, if he's present, to bring up some welcoming remarks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Naya Harris. I'm currently a senior at Malcolm X Shabazz High School, and today I'll be reading a quote from Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou once said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." I chose this quote from Maya Angelou because Mr. Gifted leads by example. Every day he wants his staff and students to know that today is going to be better than yesterday. Make today count, because today might just might be the day you win. Sorry. People will remember us because of how well conducted Malcolm X Shabazz family taught their scholars and how they prepared us to be. But people will never forget how you made them feel, and Mr. Gifted treats all of us with love and respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Naya. I wanted to start off with a quick quote. The future belongs to those who prepare for it today, and that's one of our core values here at Malcolm X Shabazz High School. And first, I would like to say peace and welcome, Superintendent Leon, advisory board members, distinguished guests, parents, guardians, family members, and Malcolm X Shabazz Southside High School Bulldog family. This includes my scholars and distinguished staff members that are here in the audience. My name is Nasid Gifted. I have the distinct honor and pleasure of serving as the principal here at Malcolm X Shabazz High School. And it took a lot to make it here. If you asked me 3 years ago, could I imagine being here, I would tell you no. See, I was just a kid from Newark, born, raised, and educated here, but my dream was to be an engineer and change the world. But those dreams change. And with that, I actually moved forward and looked for a greater purpose to help educate the children here in Newark, New Jersey. But to get here, you have to face adversity. And there's nothing better than adversity. Every defeat, every heartbreak, every loss contains its own seed, its own lessons on how to improve your performance for the next time. For the past 17 years, I dedicated myself to inspire young people to be the science and technology leaders who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. As an instructional leader, I've developed systematic approaches to solving complex problems in student nutrition, school culture, data, and performance matrix, while creating a school environment that serves to celebrate the whole child. When you enter Malcolm X Shabazz High School, you can immediately tell that you found a special place, a place that we call the Diamond in the South. We've carved out a small piece of Newark and made it our home. We've offered to this community a sanctuary where we attempt to disrupt toxic school practices, the trauma of poverty, the institutionalized oppression, by examining our living conditions, growing our skills in reading, writing, and numeracy, and critical thinking, and applying what we learned. We as a community can and will thrive. In response to this, we developed several new academies, which we are able to hone our skills, assemble a team, and create your own game. So I'm just proud to announce that we have inaugural this year the Gerald Lawson's Video Game and App Development Academy, where we're offering video production, computer science, 1, 2, and 3, and AP Principles of Computer Science, animation, video game development, and app development. We also have new this year where we're going to actually have the opportunity to create the cure in our Biomedical Engineering Academy, where we're offering Introduction to Engineering Design, Principles of Biomedical Science, Biomedical Innovation, Engineering Design, and Development, which are all attached to college credit courses and industry partners to address the lack of representation in the STEM and engineering fields. We are providing unique experiences here for our scholars and addressing the problems in the community. In our classes, our scholars are creating our own apps, and we are proud to say just last week, we have our very own Malcolm X Shabazz app available on the App Store, just so you can tune into some of the great things that's happening behind these walls. One of our core values is that we believe in our scholars and their dreams, and we help our scholars fulfill those dreams. We plan to achieve this mission but it takes a village to come together to revitalize a school, a community, and a city, and we will continue to improve here, and with your help and support, we will do this by any means necessary. So I thank you once again and welcome you to Malcolm X Shabazz High School. Last but not least, I'd like to give a special shout out to some of the advisory board members, Ms. Florence Johnson, Mr. Reginald Bledsoe, and Ms. Asia Norton, who were a part of our school improvement efforts to make sure that we got the school ready for our scholars as they walked into the doors here in September. So once again, I thank you. I thank everyone for coming here tonight, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Principal Gifted.
Madam Chair,
Board Member Norton.
just a correction. We are not advisory anymore. We are just the Newark Board of Education.
Thank you for your remarks.
We're leaving it on. He said leave it on. Okay. So now we're swearing in. All right, so now we're going to move on to item 5.0, swearing in of the newly elected student school board member. Mr. Bruno Calejo, if you can move forward, please.
No. If you would repeat after me, please. I, Bruno Coelho, do solemnly swear or affirm
Do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I, Bruno Coelho,
I, Bruno Coelho,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully perform
that I will faithfully perform
all the duties of this office
all the duties of this office
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Got it? I need my glasses. So we're gonna have him.
Madam Chair?
Superintendent Leon?
Madam President and members of the board, I know that we're extremely excited to welcome Bruno up onto the stage, but the Malcolm X Shabazz High School has one more event that they would like to do in welcoming us to the school, and I am presenting at this time the Malcolm X Shabazz High School Marching Band.
Hello? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome advisory board to Malcolm X Shabazz High School and all visitors. We are the Malcolm X Shabazz High School Marching Band. Today we are in practice, so we just stopped by and dropped by just to say hello to you guys. If you're not doing anything, Thursday night we have a football game here against Hoboken High School. Game time is 7 o'clock. Saturday we have a car wash if you'd like to come by and get your car shined up and cleaned with us. Cars, $7, and vans, trucks, $10. Sunday, you will find us downtown getting ready for breast cancer awareness. So we'll be doing our community service. Once again, welcome to Malcolm X Shabazz High School. We're about to give you another selection, and then they're going to go back into sectionals. Thank you very much.
just want to say thank you so much to the band director, Mr. Sheffield. Thank you for bringing us some excitement tonight, and I'll hand it over to Superintendent Leon.
Can I have a remark too also, Mr. Superintendent?
Yes.
I'm a sitting board member also on the Puerto Rican Day Parade. They played in our parade for the past 4 years, and I must say that the Latinos in Newark love you guys. You guys do a great job. Thank you.
Madam President, members of the board, so I want the students just to eavesdrop on this conversation. Just eavesdrop. So you're listening about somebody who's actually going to talk about you without saying, I'm talking about you. Mr. Sheffield is a perfect example of what we know exists in our great city. He's a graduate of Malcolm X Shabazz High School. He knows what it is to be a bulldog. He knows what it is. He graduates from Norfolk State University, and he can be anywhere in the United States right now, but he has chosen to be at one high school. You are a perfect example of the greatness that I know he lived when he was a student here. I'm so proud of this band. There aren't many bands in the United States that can say that they have played before 3 presidents of the United States of America. And the Malcolm X Shabazz High School Marching Band is the one that can claim that in the great city of Newark. Thank you. Very proud of all of you.
Madam Chair.
Good evening, everyone. If I just may ask you all to join me in a moment of silence to honor the passing of one of our students who passed away last night. Thank you. And now we'll turn it over to our student rep who wanted to bring some welcoming remarks. Bruno.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Superintendent, President Garcia, board members, staff, parents, and students. First, I would like to thank you all so much for being here this evening. I am extremely proud to have been sworn in as student representatives to the Newark Board of Education for the 2019-2020 school year, a position that is integral with its composed duties of voicing concerns of students to the board, as well as one which provides me with the opportunity to lend my individual perspective as a student in all matters that the board discusses. But having a student in a position that is in direct proportion and communication with the Board of Education, a connection is formed beyond the simplicity of this definition. As student representative, my main focus will be in improving communication between students and the body which makes the decisions above them. In the coming weeks, I will begin to formulate a cabinet of students from each of the high schools in Newark with the main purpose of learning about the different issues that are faced within the different high schools in our district, as well as to learn about the activities and approaches that have been taken by a number of our high schools that have brought their school environments and the relationship between both students and administrators to a better standing. This all in an effort to spread those same approaches throughout our school district. I will also be meeting with organizations such as the Newark Students Union and the Mayor's Youth and College Affairs Council to discuss the initiatives which they are working on to raise awareness and to allow them to be addressed. In addition to learning about and learning the issues facing high school students, I will work diligently to meet with younger grade levels, more specifically 8th graders, to learn about issues that are important to them, as younger students often find themselves without a voice. Again, I want to express my gratitude to everyone who supported me, and I am excited to work with all of you throughout the school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruno. I just want to say Bruno was elected to represent all of the students of the Newark Public Schools and to act as a key communication channel between the board, the district, and the Newark Public School students community. And again, we wish you all the best this school year, Bruno, and welcome.
Madam President.
Madam Chair.
Board Member Bledsoe.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening to the public. Good evening, Superintendent Leon. I just would like to say congratulations to you, Bruno, on being elected the student representative. I look forward to working with you just as well as I worked with the other student representatives in the past. I'm always available. Call, email, just reach out. You have my 100% support on whatever initiative you would like to support. Thank you.
I look forward to working with you as well. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Board Member Murray Thomas.
I'd like to just echo the sentiments of welcoming you, Bruno. For me, just seeing young people seek to be advocates, not only for themselves, but for other young people who aren't at the table, that's everything. And so hats off to you for entering the race, and just congratulations to every single student who decided to run, because it was a big decision and every student put in their all for this process. And so I look forward to, and I think the board truly looks forward to working with you and all the students who will be assembled together, because your voices matter, and we look forward to the school year. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Board Member Gomez.
I would like to say congratulations to Bruno, and also I would like to extend the invitation that I extended last year to our student representative of attending our parent engagement and student life committee, our meetings. You know, it was last year when I invited our student rep, I didn't know how it was going to go, but he was such a positive and informative part of our committee meetings. So I would like to extend that invitation, and congratulations again.
Thank you, Board Member Gomez.
That's it.
Madam Chair,
Board Member Norton.
just to echo the rest of the board members who've spoken, congratulations. Definitely look forward to working and collaborating with you during your senior year as you represent the students here in the city of Newark, Newark Public Schools. And also, Madam Chair, I wanted to congratulate the Malcolm X Shabazz for being invited to Howard's homecoming to play during their game.
Madam Chair.
Board Member Padilla.
Bruno, congratulations. Welcome to the dais. Welcome to the Newark Board of Education. It's not going to be as easy as when you sit out there, when you sit up here. So I look forward to working with you. Utilize all MPS staff, especially the board chair and all the other committee members. We'll be more than happy to help you on anything and everything that we possibly can. So welcome. Thank you.
Board Member Anderson.
Yes, Bruno, I would also like to welcome you to the board, and you have my support, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, everyone, and now we'll move on to recognitions, and tonight we will be recognizing the Weekway Marching Band.
Yes, let's hear it. Good evening. We are extremely excited. I want the board members to please join me, because when this band actually arrives up here, we will not have any room for anybody else to join us. So In recognition and appreciation of the Weequahic Marching Band, the 2019 National Champions of the Orlando All-Star Music Festival. Let's give them a big round of applause. I know that this band director has been working extremely hard, and on this day, we proclaim, whereas the Weequahic Marching Band is comprised of Newark students from the 4th through the 12th grades and ranging in ages from 10 to 18 years old, traveled to Orlando, Florida to compete with bands from across the country in the marching band and percussion categories of the 2019 Orlando All-Star Music Festival. And whereas the Weequahic Marching Band finished in first place in the marching competition with an excellent rating, and whereas the Weequahic Marching Band also finished in first place in the percussion competition with a superior rating. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Newark Board of Education members do hereby commend and applaud the members of the Weequahic Marching Band and the coaching staff for their hard work, dedication, and the accomplishments of winning the championship of the 2019 Orlando All-Star Music Festival. Let's give a big round of applause. They represent they're a cross-representation of students from different schools. Obviously, Weequahic High School, Peshine, Chancellor, Carver, People's Prep, Eagle Academy, American History, Central High School, University High School, and Rise Academy. Let's give all of our students a big round of applause. In addition to the board recognizing them this evening, they had a little bit of a dinner with the board, and they are clearly understanding what it means to have their names called at this time. And so I would like students to begin to walk. Where's my band director? There he is. Come on, Mr. Taylor. All right. So we need students from each of the rows to begin to join us. If you could start in the first row, and then we end. Actually, we'll start in the last row, and please come join us. Come on, Mr. Taylor, come up here. We're going to need y'all up here with us. If we start with the last row, start walking up, please. Thank you. Oh, I see Principal Hollis. Come on, Principal Hollis. Let's hear it for Principal Hollis. Alexis Westbrook, Tasmlee Allen, Samaya Alston, Comfort Ayodele, Adam Mustafa, Samira Jackson, Hashim Foster, Justin Fernelius, Quincy Reddick, Mariam Karadiri, current juniors, Sean Ofietti, Nasir Bathia, Anayala Zachary, Charisma Robinson, Tyrese Griffin, Tyler Bush, Jaden Fletcher, and Peter Ajabade. Keep coming. Ashley Torres, Jaleel Murray, Andrea Coley, Sabria Roberts, and Michelle Icadeli. Current 8th graders.
Congratulations, guys.
Davina Iketi and Tyreek Beard. Congratulations, congratulations. Current 7th graders, Faith Griffin and Raheem Odoms. We even have some 6th graders and 5th graders joining us. Yep. No, I want y'all to stay up here. Come on, come on, come on, come back, come back, come back. We're gonna take a picture together, come on. Johnny Griffin, Christopher Walker, Rimit Odoms, Kamaya Bland, Zale Shepard, Niles, Takia Jackson, Maya Montgomery, Angel Griffin, Larry Williams, seniors who have graduated, Camilla Waddell, Isaiah Tillman, Deshaun Coolsby, obviously all of the coaches and the directing band, Darrell Taylor Sr., his assistant Jamal Little, and drum instructor Darrell Taylor Jr., and all of the other adult volunteers. Let's give them all a big round of applause as they join us up on this stage.
Oh, look at the little ones.
Can't have them. No, because then we can't see them. I know. That makes no sense. Come on. Come on, yo. Just be careful coming back. Can we all?
The boys can take a knee.
Come on. Come on. We're up here every month. We need y'all up in here. Come on. Come on. Yep, we can back up a little bit.
Yes. You guys come up. Come up, guys.
These students traveled all the way to Orlando, Florida, and they represented the city of Newark well, and everybody in the audience should be applauding them right now. Let's give them a big round of applause. Yes, yes. No. We have room right up here. Come on round. And we need, come on. There we go. Yep, we good over there? All right, Rob, you're good? All right.
Here, put the superintendent right next to him.
Let's hear from Band Director Taylor.
I'd like to thank everybody, Mr. Leon, board members, for honoring us here today. I'd like to say thank you very much. And on behalf of myself, my staff, the students, and I know Mr. Hollis as well, we'd like to thank you guys for all your support. And we'd like to let you know that we plan on going to Florida again in May. This time we're entering 4 competitions on a bigger stage and on a grander scale. And with you guys' support, I know for a fact we'll get down there and we'll bring back that first place again. Thank you.
All right. Principal Hollis. Where's Principal Hollis? There we go.
Thank you. On behalf of Weequahic High School and our marching band, we want to just thank everyone who have supported our school throughout the years. Our students work very hard to get to where they are, to come into first place in Florida. They work hard each and every day. I hear them every day under my office. I actually go out and join them sometimes and try to join them. But there's such an amazing bunch of kids, and we love them. We're going to support them fully. And students, congratulations again. We are so proud of you all. Thank you.
Everybody right here. Look, girls, look. All right, ready here. 1, 2, 3, smile. No, put it out.
If we can have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Norton. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Bledsoe. Any discussion by board members? Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Madam President, I'm going to abstain on the retreat minutes, August 24th.
Any others? Motion carries.
Bruno, do you have a report? No, right? Okay. And none, never know. Okay. We're going to move on to the board president's report. And again, good evening, fellow board members, Superintendent Leon, staff, students, families, and constituents. I am Josephine Garcia, president of the Board of Education. As I stated earlier, we have some new families and participants who have joined us. So we did earlier a moment of silence for the student that passed away last night. Just wanted to report out that the Office of Student Life has visited with the family and was on site at the school to provide emotional support to both students and staff. Earlier, you heard from our 2019-2020 student representative, Bruno Calejo. We are lucky to have him. Last Thursday, he was on the WGBO Newark Today panel forum on the state of Newark Public Schools, joined by Superintendent, the mayor, and myself. He did well representing his peers and the district. The board members look forward to working with him and helping him as he represents all of our public school students, making sure that their voices are heard. Bruno will be a member of the Parent Engagement and Student Life Committee. Again, welcome, Bruno. In alignment with the transition plan, the board continues to fulfill the requirements of the plan and have scheduled at least 3 training sessions that are outlined in the plan. In addition, we are all scheduled for our mandatory NJSBA training, and we take advantage of other informational and training sessions that provide us with the knowledge and skills to help move the district forward. The second annual backpack rally at School Stadium was a huge success. It was well organized and well attended. Our children were exposed to haircuts by local barbers, manicures, health information like dental hygiene care, and the FQHC health van. They were entertained by the Red Bulls mascot, poets, and other entertainers. We are grateful to our partners who donated money, food, and most importantly, their time to support the event. In addition to the district and the mayor's office, other contributors were the City Municipal Council, Just One Soccer Clinic, motivational speakers, local entertainers, the New Jersey Devils, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Newark Thrives, and the Newark YMCA. We want to give a big thank you to the restaurant owners of Taino's Kitchen and Latin Flavor that made contributions of delicious food to all the volunteers who were on site. We also donated backpacks filled with supplies to the Greater Hood, which serves individuals who are experiencing homelessness, and the Essex County Law Enforcement Explorers Post 183, and the Car Kicks for Kids. Thank you to our organizers, Noreen, Noel, Joyce, Felicia Mann, and Janet Chavis of the Newark Public Schools, and Trevor Phillips from the Mayor's Office for a job well done. It gets better every year, and we're looking for our 3rd annual one next year. The Title I office is planning an annual citywide parent conference in November and have scheduled a series of 3 open community forum planning sessions to get input from parents regarding the topics they would like to see offered at the conference. Additional information is on the district website. The first meeting is tomorrow, September 25th, between 6 to 7:30 p.m. at 765 Broad Street, lower level. The other dates are October 2nd between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. and October 9th between 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Please be aware that parents attending the conference must have at least 1 child enrolled in the Newark Public Schools. We are nearing the deadline for families to complete the lunch applications. For personal assistant, families can visit the parent liaison in their school, or they can come to the food services at 765 Broad Street, 2nd floor. In addition, the district is in the midst of back-to-school night. Families can also complete the application while they are at their school for back-to-school night. The Parent Engagement and Student Life Committee has scheduled a series of meetings so the community can join in conversation about parent engagement. You will have an opportunity to interact with board members and members of the superintendent's executive staff. Hopefully you picked up a flyer on the way in. They're outside on the counters. But the first meeting is on Wednesday, October 9th, starting at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Dr. William H. Horton School. There will be a meeting every month, and in each ward will be covered. We sincerely hope that you come out and join us at one of these sessions and meet your board members. Now that we are in the 4th week of school, the district's attendance goal is still 100%. Every day matters. Last month, I asked you all to call a neighbor. Today, I ask you that you stay in touch and help get our students to school and on time. In closing, I would like to wish all students, parents, teachers, administrators, central office staff the best 2019-2020 school year, and that concludes the President's report. Thank you so much. And now I will turn it over to Superintendent Leon for the Superintendent's report.
Madam President and members of the board, what I wanted to do is provide some updates on some very important issues and that are not only about the present, but really forecasting into the future. Then I want to share some important dates that I know were shared last week at the business meeting that I think are extremely important. And then I want to end with a very important announcement. So I wanted to start with Rashonda Jackson. She's the new Executive Director of the Office of Policy Planning, Evaluation, and Testing. Let's give her a round of applause. There she is. She's going to give us some updates on Newark Enrolls, as well as some PSAT information, and work that we're going to do with an audit as it relates to class size, things of that nature. What's extremely important for everyone to be aware, although she came to us from, where were you?
I was in
Colorado. It was so cold there.
Occasionally, yes.
Yes. So she is a baby from this city. Graduated from Science High School. Was my former high school debater. So I'm extremely honored and proud of her. She's not new to the Newark schools. She was an employee here in the district. Decided to go help Colorado schools, and the opportunity for her to return home came about. She's a graduate of Bates, Columbia, and Harvard. Yes, the babies in Newark are actually very smart, ladies and gentlemen. We educate them well, and then they do well. So she'll be providing these updates for us now.
I am enormously appreciative of the opportunity to address the board at Malcolm X Shabazz High School, the place where my mother graduated from high school, and my sister as well. So I just appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about our work here in this context. So again, going to talk to you about the 4 areas that the Office of Policy Planning, Evaluation, and Testing is responsible for. So in terms of enrollment, there are 4 areas that we're responsible for. Enrollment is one of them. And so the new cycle of Newark Enrolls opens in December. Our application opens specifically on December 2nd. And on that same Saturday of that week, we will open up, we will have actually a high school fair for our students. And as in prior years, students will have around 3 months in which they can submit their applications, and then the application window will close in February, on February the 14th specifically. And then we will have match letters that will be sent out to students in mid-April. Now, as previously mentioned in prior meetings with the board, this cycle of universal enrollment will be supported by a new platform, specifically Schoolment, and that's very exciting for us, especially those folks who work in data, because this is a platform that is integrated. So in prior cycles of Newark Enrolls, there were 2 separate systems that were supporting that process. They did not talk to one another. One was PowerSchool, which is our student information system. The other one is Salesforce, which is an application that was not intended for the kind of work we use it for. Schoolment was specifically developed to support a universal enrollment process. So we're really excited that we will be having a system that will be able to talk to our student information system. So Schoolment will be replacing Salesforce. The other update I want to give around enrollment is related to the Family Support Center. So it has fully transitioned that work to all district schools across the city. And so instead of one location that new families have when they come into the district and they want to enroll, they can now go into any district school and receive that kind of support, including the one that is closest to their home. So they don't need to take a bus or multiple buses or take a cab ride downtown. They can take a walk wherever they are closest to and get that kind of support that they need to enroll their child in a city school. So the next thing I want to update you about is with regard to student information systems. So our major focus right now for that team is to make sure that schools are supported with the October count. The October count is incredibly important because that's when schools do an accounting of all of the students that are in their buildings. And so schools are generally expected to do this accounting on their own. However, one of the core roles of my department is to ensure that we have unified systems that are supporting the work of our schools and of the district. And so in alignment with that strategy, where we have established a tiered support system for our schools. So what we're going to do is actually have additional assistance available to those schools with staff members who are assigned to lead this accounting in their schools, but they're new or their schools have struggled with doing this accounting in the past. And so proactively, we are going to have a strategy where we have our district staff members who are going to be trained and paired up with schools, and they are going to go into those schools that we've identified as needing additional support and helping them do that head count of students. So we actually train those clerks who are responsible for what is called ASA reporting, which is that October count reporting in their schools. They received that training this Monday. We are going to be training district staff this Thursday, and then the validation of the information that schools have collected will start during the week of October. Well, it will start on September 30th and go through October 4th, and then the district staff members will go into schools and do their audit on site on October the 10th and potentially on the 11th as well, which is the Thursday and Friday. With regard to data analysis, we have expanded our capacity to support school and district staff in conducting data analysis on the fly using data visualization tool, one of which is called Tableau. So Tableau offers our staff members a dashboarding capability that allows them to query and analyze data from a data warehouse that we are continuing to build. And so the kinds of reports that staff members will be able to run it involves tracking students to make sure that they are on track to graduation, looking at all kinds of different outcomes associated with student achievement that will include their performance on tests, as well as other data elements that we collect on student performance. And then finally, the last area that I want to update you on is with regard to testing. So the PSAT and the SAT suite. So we're talking about students who are in the 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade. Those are all students who will be taking the PSAT. We expect every student that is enrolled in that grade to participate in the PSAT. And then those students who are in the 12th grade should be taking the SAT. All of those assessments will be administered on October the 16th. The M, the NJSLA individual student reports. Those are the state tests that were administered last spring, and we have provided the board with updates with regards to students' performance. Those parent reports will be available to parents directly through our Power School parent portal for the first time ever this year. All right, thank you.
Now we thought fitting, given the training that Mr. Morlino is undergoing right now, to give you a facilities update as to where we are district-wide, and Ms. Wilson will provide that update.
Thank you, Superintendent Leon. Madam Chair, Superintendent Leon, members of the board, community, good evening. We have had a busy summer in the facilities department, as we typically do. It's when we get most of our cleaning done, most of our updates done, and any significant construction that we can carry out without children being present, because there are a lot of restrictions on the types of paint, the types of chemicals, and what we can do while the buildings are occupied. So we began our summer and we did several CTE, or career technical education, vocational education installations this year. We have a major project at Newark Vocational that is ongoing. We're putting in there a culinary suite, a printing and graphics suite, and a travel and hospitality. That project will be ongoing for several months into the future, and we will continue to work on that and provide you with updates. Several other areas that we did CTE programs here at Malcolm X Shabazz. We provided an engineering solution for children and students to be able to actually begin doing engineering work. As you know, Malcolm X Shabazz has an engineering academy and partners with NJIT. At Barringer, we expanded our ability to offer law classes to students. We already have a courtroom there, and we will be expanding for a mock courtroom, I'm sorry. We'll be expanding that to some other classes. All of the programs that I speak about this evening, we will be expanding in the future years to accommodate additional students. Barringer has the Law Academy. Weequahic High School has the Allied Health, and we have several classrooms, probably 3 classrooms that we've put in place. They are complete, and these classrooms that I am talking about include not just cosmetic work having to do with walls, carpeting, flooring, things of that nature, but they also include furniture to support these endeavors. So in the Law Academy at Barringer, we have the ability to hold a mock trial. Actually, you have a seat for the judge, you have the attorneys, and you have the jury and the audience. So in each of these, we have furniture, we have various things that were put in. For example, at Malcolm X Shabazz, there is a need for expanded electrical work and high-density monitors, things of that nature that will be used. At Westside, which is our business and finance school, we have put in a business and finance academy area, which will be expanded next year. That actually will allow students to be able to work together, sort of in quads on projects associated with finance and business. That's our CTE work. Now, this is all in addition to our regular cleaning and upgrading of schools. We were also fortunate to receive a grant that was accepted by the board from Councilman Amador in the East Ward, and Eastside High School was able to do a $300,000 renovation to their media center. So that has also been completed, including finishes, furniture, etc. We are doing a program that you've heard us talk about, which is ESIP, Energy Savings Initiative Program. It is a program that allows us to do some major capital work through financing, and the ability to pay that financing back over a long term. We borrowed approximately $13 million over about 20 years, and it is paid for through the utility savings on gas and electric. That project has allowed us to work on 6 schools, replacing roofs, replacing boilers. We are placing solar panels on the roofs to generate clean energy, and we will also be doing that on some of our parking lots, so you'll begin to see solar farms. And inside the school, we're able to do LED lighting. Once we have made the buildings waterproof, so that they're not continual, we don't have roofs that are leaking, we have the ability to then address the cosmetic issues in a permanent state within the building. Yes, indeed, praise him for sure. We are working at creative ways to find money, because as you know, we don't have a capital budget. So finding financing at a reasonable interest rate that allows us to pay it back over a long term, but allows us to get the money available and to be able to do the projects now is what's important. Our second phase of our ESIT program was going to cover probably 17 schools. We will be expanding that to a larger group of schools and really make a significant effort in making sure that our roofs are replaced. We've had a roof assessment done in this district across all of our roofs. If we were to replace the roofs that need replacement, repair the ones that are repairable, maintain the ones that are in good condition, I would need $15 million right now, just to do the roofs. That's not anything else. Gutters, leaders, nothing else. In addition, we've done some water updates. So we continue to do our long-term remediation on the safety of water for our students and staff. There are filters, almost 988 filters across 1,200 outlets in the district. We've tested over 8,500 outlets. We are continuing to do testing. Since December 19th, we have tested 31 schools, and we are planning 10 more within the next month. The law that was put in place in 2017, after we experienced lead in our water, requires school districts to test their faucets and facilities every 6 years. We are not waiting for the 6-year time period. We are testing on a rotating monthly basis. Our testing includes the testing of filters that are on our drinking sources, so we ensure that our filters are working appropriately and as expected. And we continue to do ongoing remediation with regards to other lines that may be in a school that have been shut off. We go into that line, see if we can replace some of the piping, if it makes a difference, and then we'll provide another source of water. If it continues to test high, we leave it turned off and decommissioned. So decommissioning means nobody can access it in any way by accident to drink. And our filters currently have the capacity for 3,000 gallons of water before they actually shut off the fountain. So if a child goes to a fountain where the filter has reached its capacity, they will be unable to drink from that fountain. Superintendent Leon, that concludes my report.
So part of what we're hearing from Ms. Jackson is how we're working with the infrastructure, making changes to align systems. That's the work that's forecasting the future. What Ms. Wilson has been talking about was how we actually change the actual facilities themselves. So I just want to take an opportunity, and I see some of the folks from the facilities team that are working really, really hard. Will all of them please stand, all the way starting in the back, working all the way up? Come on, Wally. Yes, a big round of applause. I see Dr. Ray Lindgren and Mary Bennett. Both of them have been instrumental in working with the folks that are on our staff currently to making great things actually happen. I wanted to make sure we were all aware of all of the dates that Ms. Jackson has gone over, and I'll share a couple of others. You'll click for me? All right, great. So this week began Random Acts of Kindness Week. This whole entire week, children are actually logging in every day from yesterday all the way through Friday. And then next week, we will actually post some of the great acts of our students. On October 16th, we are actually administering the PSATs. Years ago, we used to administer this only to 11th graders. When I became assistant superintendent of the high schools, we administered it to every student in grade 7 through 11. During the Janey administration, we administered it to certain students in grades 7 and 8, and every student in grades 9 through 11. And now as superintendent, knowing that the PSAT, based on the work with the College Board, really should target students in 8th grade, we are administering this test on October 16th to every student in Newark schools from age grade 8 all the way to grade 11. The pre-college fair is on October 16th as well, from grade 6 to 11. People will need to look at the district web for location and times. That fair is in the evening. The HBCU College Fair is on November 21st, 2019. We are obviously participating. This is not a college fair where any of our state schools will be represented or even county schools. This is just a straight up national HBCU College Fair, the 21st of November. On December 13th, the class of 2020, these are our seniors right now. We will host on December 13th a college fair that will be here, obviously, in the city of Newark. For our juniors, the class of 2021, on March 18th, we will have a college fair for all of our juniors. The work that we began last year was only going to be with seniors. Seniors told me that they thought it would have been extremely helpful, although they were appreciative of the college fair, to have a college fair when they were juniors would have helped them a lot. So I did the college fair for the seniors, this year's seniors, when they were juniors, as a result of the recommendation of the seniors. I wasn't going to do a college fair for our seniors because I already did one last year. A week ago, when I met with the seniors, they asked for a college fair. They understand that what we're trying to do is provide them information prior to when it matters. So our students are understanding that it is really, really important for them to take it seriously, the initial experience. So what we're doing, obviously for our juniors, is we're offering them the college fair on March 18th, but we have shared with the seniors that we're inviting them to other college fairs while they're seniors as well. The high school fair, where we will introduce all of the high school offerings. We are going to be opening. We opened up one new school this year. We're opening up another new high school next September, and we will introduce that new high school prior to the high school fair, but no later than December the 7th. December the 7th is the high school fair for all of our students in 8th grade trying to choose to select a high school to attend next school year. The high school application opens on the 7th of December, and it closes on the 14th of February. So on the day that we actually have the high school fair, that is when we will introduce the applications as well. Admissions test. Any student that is going to attend any high school that we are responsible for will be required to take an admissions test, regardless of the school. The new school that I'm talking about, in order to get enrolled in 9th grade, you will have to take a test. Malcolm X Shabazz High School, in order to enroll in this school, you will have to take a test. In order to get into any of our magnet high schools, you will also have to take a test. The tests are being administered on the 21st of February for any student who is currently an 8th grader in Newark schools. If you are an 8th grader in any school that is not a Newark public school, then your date is the 22nd of February, and that will be at Science Park, the administration of that test. The high school fair on December 7th is at Barringer. The high school test for admissions, Science Park. Match letters are tentatively going to go out on the 12th of April. And now with my very important announcement. The state of New Jersey has allowed us on this day to share this very important information. We wanted to share it earlier. The parents of these students have already received their NJSLA scores from last school year. To the board, we have 66 students with perfect scores on the state test in either English language arts or mathematics. That means for those in the viewing audience who are having problems with their television sets at this time, that means that this is how many answers they got wrong. None of them. Every answer and every question answered, and every answer answered correctly. I'm extremely proud of these 66 students. We will be honoring them at an appropriate dinner, and we will showcase them in front of the entire viewing audience. And where do they attend? Abington, Ann Street, Bard, Branchbrook, Camden, Eastside, Elliott, First, Lafayette, Mount Vernon, Oliver, Park, Ridge, Science, South 17th, Sussex, Technology, and Wilson Avenue schools. And Madam President, that ends my report.
All right, public participation. We're going to move on to...
I'm sorry, Madam President. Sorry, members of, because I know you were happy that I was done. So the only reason I was going to read their names on the record, we will do that next month out of respect to their parents, because their parents actually received a communication already when they received the actual NJSLA scores. They will formally receive a letter signed by me honoring them and recognizing them for this incredible accomplishment. And now that ends my report.
Public participation.
Wait, any questions, board members?
I'm sorry.
Just really quickly, Madam President, and I apologize. You can say yes or no, Mr. Superintendent. I know annually parents are required to be notified of assessments that are going to be taken throughout the school year. Can you let the board know if those notices have gone out to parents?
All of the parents in this city should be aware that any student in the ages of grade 3 through 8th grade are required to take an English language arts as well as a mathematics assessment with science at targeted grades. And then in all of the grades in high school, part of the conversation that has been occurring at every single one of the schools is timelines with regards to the importance of those dates as well as the other assessments that we're offering. Like, I didn't post the SAT dates, but we know that our high school juniors and seniors are being made aware that that's the test that we need them to be focused on and ready. I want to make it very, very clear. The NJSLA is the state standardized test. And every student that's listening must, and is administered that test, must take it seriously. But the tests that matter the most are not anything that they have to take in their classrooms, nor any of the ones that I mentioned just now. The biggest test that our students must be successful in is representing this city and representing it very, very well. The PSAT is the test that determines scholarship money, no doubt, and we will work very hard to prepare all of our students for that test. And then obviously the SAT is the test that gets them admitted into particular colleges and universities. So we're being aggressive with regards to sharing all of those testing calendars so that they're aware of when the test is, what grade is impacted, and how they need to ready their children for that.
Thank you, Madam President.
Madam President,
Board Member Norton?
just to clarify, well, thank you, Superintendent, for your presentation and the presentation of the district staff. I just wanted to clarify, when will the test be available for parents to view on Power School?
So mid-October is when we will be pushing the ISRs to Power School.
Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Chair,
Board Member Marie Thomas?
I'd like to acknowledge the superintendent and the district staff for all the hard work, and the students, community, families, all who are present here today, everything that's made our successes possible. I'd like to ask specifically as it relates to enrollment. Superintendent, one of the things that you've been adamant about, and gratefully so, is that we have parents and be able to actually enroll their kids at school, at the school that's closest to them, the school in the nearest area, rather than having to go all the way down to central office to do so. And Dr. Jackson talked about that process and the rollout of that, so thank you very much. My question is in regards to how we've been informing parents of this shift. I know that there have been a lot of creative ways in which the district has been seeking to make sure parents are informed, but because unfortunately our parents have been conditioned to having to do the more difficult process for so long, every parent may not know that this new option is available. So can we talk a little bit about some of the outreach efforts to make sure parents are informed?
Yeah, so communication, and considering that we're talking about NPS clarity, it behooves us to make sure that we're clear on what it is that we're doing. So to a great extent, I'm banking on the fact that the majority of the people who have attended schools in this city prior to these last 8 years know that in order for you to get enrolled, you go to the school closest to your house. So that's not that big of a learning curve. What becomes extremely important and what everyone must understand is that going to the school closest to where you live doesn't mean that that's the school that you have to have your child enroll in. That every school is a family support center and that we provide assistance and support at the school closest to your house, which may not necessarily be the school that you want your child to enroll in. So if you live across the street from Hawthorne Avenue School, instead of having to catch 2 buses to 765 to be told that yes, you can enroll at Hawthorne Avenue School, now all you do is cross the street and you get enrolled there. So by word of mouth, people are now understanding that. Information up on the web obviously helps, making sure that people are aware of what it is that they are supposed to do is extremely important. So definitely people that are here communicating that to people. If anyone catches, and we've had this happen as we're preparing this opportunity, I have parents who report to 765 who are like, who thought of this ridiculous process for us to come all the way here to be told to go back and register at the school that's closest to their house if that's where they wanted to go. So it is our reality today. And so I believe that making it clear to people that if you want to go to the school closest to your house, all you have to do now is go there. Or if you want to go to another school very far away from your house, you can go to the school closest to your house or the school that's most convenient for you. Maybe it's a school that you work nearby and it's not necessarily where you live, that any school in Newark will actually be able to register you. So I guess the ultimate point is over-communicating it, making sure that people are aware, putting it up on the web, having people at the schools share this information. The parent who came to central office shared with me that somebody who in the last 7 years wound up also coming to central office is the one who told her that if she wanted to enroll, she would have to come to central office. So what she did in helping is she then told that parent, no, that's not the procedure anymore. regardless of if a parent comes to us, we will service them properly at 765. So we have people there that can answer questions, and we have people at every single one of our schools who can do the same. I think that the biggest point that I would want to highlight is that people are very, very happy that we have made the change that we've made.
Thank you, Superintendent.
All right, public participation. We'll move on to public participation.
Public participation at board meetings is intended to allow individual members of the public to address the board on issues of public concern and not intended as a forum for extended conversation or two-way dialogue with board members or district officials. The board president, superintendent, or designee may respond to questions either at the end of the session or at a later time. It shall be the responsibility of the board president to maintain order and efficient process during public participation at board meetings, especially so that the full-time allotment for public comment is given over to the speakers from the public. Public participation at this meeting will be limited to 90 minutes. This time allotment may be extended for an additional 15 minutes by the board president at her discretion. All speakers, regardless of whether he or she represents an organization, will be allotted no more than 3 minutes for comment unless an exception applies. These time limits for all speakers will be adhered to. There will be no sharing or granting of speaking time to others. Speakers must be present when their name is called. All speakers will be required to give their names and addresses. The public participation portion of the meeting, as I said, will be limited to 90 minutes. Examples of unacceptable behavior that will not be permitted include, but are not limited to, naming district employees and engaging in personal attacks, racial slurs, excessive loudness, calling out, yelling, generally disruptive behavior, attempting to disrupt the meeting, or inciting others to do so. The superintendent or board president may interrupt any speaker or terminate any individual's speaking privilege if the speaker's comments are disruptive or obscene. An individual may be cautioned that a personally directed statement may be slanderous or defaming, and that the individual may be liable for his or her comments. Attempts to hijack or filibuster the proceedings, repeated interrupting or badgering the board president or district officials, repetitive or truculent speech, or other disregard for the rules of decorum will not be tolerated and may subject the individual or group to removal from the meeting. If necessary, the board meeting will be adjourned.
Okay, so we have speaker number 1. It says Newark Student Union Rep. If you can please state your name, and the next time you sign up to speak, please put your name on the sheet. Thank you very much.
Azay.
Hello, board.
Hello.
My name is Azay Williams, and I am a senior at Science Park High School and also a representative of the Newark Students Union. The reason why we put the Newark Students Union instead of individual names is because we are a team, and in the case that one of us could not come to represent tonight, another person could step in without any problems. So please forgive us for So the first concern is about the extracurricular programs funded by Mr. Malcolm Robinson. Those programs include the Garden State Scholar program and the School for Ethics and Global Leadership. A lot of students are inquiring about the status of those programs, asking whether or not those programs are even running, or if or when they can join. And I have to say, as a graduate of the School for Ethics and Global Leadership, it is mentally, emotionally, and intellectually transforming for each student that goes. Mr. Malcolm Robinson, so the tuition for the school per semester is $40,000, and he funds 3 students per year, 1 per semester, spring, fall, and summer, to go and study in DC, or previously it has been London. There's a student there currently in Washington, DC, who actually goes to Shabazz, and I can definitely tell you that he is having the time of his life. And the reason why it is so transformative is because students are placed into a raw environment of difference. Different cultures, different lifestyles, different mental processes, different socioeconomic statuses. And when students are introduced into a raw environment of difference, they are forced to learn how to navigate those raw environments of difference. We're forced to grow up a little bit. We're forced to be exposed to echo chambers outside of the echo chambers that are our home communities. And so I believe that students need these programs. They are very transformative, and I cannot say that I would be the person I am today without having gone to Washington, D.C. and studying there for a semester. So students really want those programs, and maybe I'm biased because I did go to one of those programs, but there's nothing else that can compare. The second issue I want to talk about is that of custodians at Science Park High School. So I am a very sociable person, and I talk to a lot of different people from all different backgrounds. And more than one custodians have, come to me, and just when I'm asking about their general day, they're very worn out because the night shift, there's not enough custodians that work the night shift. And I was just a request, just asking if there could be something worked out, because there's not enough, the custodians don't get enough support. And those are the concerns that I have, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Ms. Williams. Next speaker, Jordan Roper.
Good evening, everyone, advisory board members, Superintendent Leon. My name is Jordan Roper. I'm a senior at American History High School, Institute of Social Justice and Democracy. Today I'm here to talk to you about some of the positive and negative things that are going on at American History High School. One of the things that are going on at American History High School is that I have no teachers. I have subs in physics, English, and advanced algebra. One of the goals is for me to be prepared and ready for college, and 3 substitute teachers won't help me be prepared for college. Another one of the problems is we don't have enough desks to accommodate all of the students. I'm asking Superintendent Leon to please make sure we have enough desks for students. No student should have to stand up and learn. Furthermore, there are still teachers retaliating on students they don't like. These teachers are calling home, fabricating stories to get students in trouble. Administrators shouldn't have to call home and apologize for teachers calling home and making up stories, but they don't call on students that they don't like. These teachers need to use the same ruler to measure the same inch. Moreover, I would like to thank the new administration for listening to us and willing to make a change to make our school better. I also would like to thank the district for transferring our security guard, Mr. Carwell, back into the building. For those who made that happen, we appreciate your support, particularly from Central Office. Mr. Carwell has been a mentor and father figure to American History High School students. He's always there to tell us to do the right thing. I would appreciate if you take everything into consideration that I said here today. We, the students of Newark Public Schools, need your support. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Roper. Next speaker, Darren Martin. Next speaker, Christopher Canick.
Hi. Sorry, a little under the weather. Christopher Canick, 155 Berkeley Avenue in Bloomfield. I work at Central High School, and I am a part of the Newark Teachers Union Executive Board. I'm here tonight to talk about something that, unfortunately, I've been talking about for almost a decade now, which is special needs inadequacy in the district, class size overages, and just general noncompliance. The buzzword at Central High School recently seems to be accountability, and as best I can tell, that accountability is strictly with the teacher, as any initiatives that included students for accountability were scrapped and turned over to teacher responsibility. And as best as I can tell, it's a tough burden to put on a teacher to say, hey, give the best education possible to these students, and then to put students in that classroom that cannot possibly be accommodated by the teacher, either in fact or in legality. While I can't go into any specifics, to protect student confidentiality, what I can do is give a brief summary, and perhaps somebody can correct me if I am woefully incorrect. There are a couple of different types of programs for special needs. One is called a resource classroom. That type of classroom can have 2 different versions. One is an inclusion classroom where a resource teacher pushes into the classroom. That is a certified special needs teacher, and they aid and help supplement instruction for the general education teacher in that classroom, and that is generally called resource in-class support. There is also a separate program called Resource Pullout, wherein a student goes to a separate classroom for part or all of an academic subject period, and they receive additional support in that environment. That typically, once again, requires a certified special needs teacher, along with perhaps capacity aids or individual aids as required. I have 5 of those students spread across my day, and no resource teacher at any point coming into my classroom. I have no aid in my classroom for my students who require one-to-one aids. And I genuinely have no idea when this will be fixed, addressed, or even acknowledged. This is happening throughout the district. I'm hearing, I went to the math PD yesterday. A 4th grade teacher shared with me that she's in exactly the same boat, that she teaches 35 students in one classroom while in that same boat. I don't know what to say about that, but it is embarrassing, and it has gone on quite long enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Koenig. Next speaker, Johnny Latner. Can't even see people tonight.
Good afternoon, board.
Good evening.
Johnny Latner, 60 Mount Pleasant. Let's not begin 2019-2020 school year with the illusion of inclusion. Let's begin the year on the right track. First, we need, in reference to facilities, I think you need to check on the buildings to make them handicap accessible, because a lot of those buildings are not handicap accessible. Second, last week I spoke in reference to, at the business meeting, in reference to the home instruction teachers. And I said that it's very dangerous to have teachers going to homes from 4 to 6 in the afternoon. Because as you know, and I said, I'm gonna say it here publicly, Newark is not the safest place in the world to be. It's nice to live here, but it's not the safest place. And I think that when you intrude homes in the afternoon, especially if you're dealing with students who may have a handicap or something like that, maybe that's the time that they do their, get their medicine or whatever like that. And so I think at least consider changing it back to the old routine, because, you know, I think you're really going into the family when you start to when you start to work within those hours. Also, we don't want that ban on parents. I don't think that we need a ban on parents. I know that it hasn't been brought back up again, but we don't want it. Also, I know you said that you tested the water and that you have filters, but we haven't seen any test results. We haven't seen any numbers to show. And kind of, that would be nice to bring those numbers to see in reference to that. Also, bullying and racist acts are still being done at Arlington Avenue School, Abington School. The parent, I was going to sign her son and her up to speak tonight. But she'll be here next month to speak because it's still going on. So I'm finished. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Latner. Next speaker, Yolanda Johnson. Yes.
Yolanda Johnson.
765 Bank Street. I got so much to say, but I'm going to thank Josephine for assisting us with that family this week so that that student could be enrolled in school. But there are, like I said, 60 more parents today. In the East Ward alone, I urge you guys, the district board members, to get with families in the East Ward. There is a crisis going on in the East Ward. And I don't know if the district has 100% enrollment. I thought that's what I heard, the attendance, but I can't agree with that because we have about 60 parents keeping their children home from school since the start of the school year. So they're already chronic absenteeism. As far as the PSAT for the 8th through 11th graders, my daughter is 10th grade, and I have a problem with the principal over there at University High School. When you begin to focus on a sweater versus prepping them or preparing them for this said PSAT and preparing the teachers and getting the school climate aligned and other things like increasing student academic achievement. What else I put up here? Like,
It's hot in here, I know.
and attendance, then I have a problem. I have a problem with this principal, and I'm sure you've seen it, Superintendent Leon, because I've emailed you. I also went down to the district, the central office yesterday, looking for Mr. Denous, regarding this principal focusing on a sweater. Now, you're not gonna tell me, an engaged parent, that you reached out to me via email and you exhausted all lines of communication because you lied. And let me say this, I am so tired of these administrators. I am so tired of school staff treating us parents as if we don't know what we're talking about, because we don't speak the linguistics, because we don't use word semantics, doesn't mean that we don't know what our child needs. Now, let me tell you something about this uniform policy, because I wasn't going to focus on that because it's so minute, but since that principal, Ms. Hamilton over there at university, want to nitpick with me, I am taking some parents down to the legislators because we don't even have to wear uniforms, right? I'm just telling my child to put on the uniform because I agree with that, but for her to nitpick and the teachers to nitpick, and if I had printed out the text messages that I received, I would have issued it today. My child dealt with, and I'm going to be finished in a minute, my child dealt with this weekend on Friday because it was told to her that she couldn't wear her sweater, which did not have a hoodie, where the collar was outside, that she could not wear it. She had to wear a sweater or a sweatshirt with the colors of the uniform. That is absurd to me. And for her to sneak downtown to the store to try and follow the policy, which we don't receive bus tickets, and she takes, I'm going to be finished in a minute, but let me finish saying this. Please let me finish, and I'm going to be done. For her to sneak downtown to try and follow the policy using her money that she has to use because we don't receive bus tickets, for her to get back and forth to school, and her jeopardizing getting back and forth to school to get that instruction time for a sweater that this principal is concerned about is absurd to me. That is disrupting her social and emotional. So if we're going to talk about moving forward, let me get this out. If we're going to talk about moving Newark schools forward, let's move Newark schools forward the right way and stop focusing on a sweater. And stop focusing on a sweater. Because let me tell you,
are you present?
Because Josephine, let me tell you something. I will send my child to school tomorrow without a uniform on because that's my right. We're going to stop playing with these parents like that because it is not mandatory for these students to wear uniforms if they so choose. And ask them about that $1,000 that was donated to them. If she wants the students to wear uniforms or a sweater, then let them prepare or let them purchase the sweaters for her. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next speaker, Kalima Phelps. Next speaker, Saphir Jenkins. Okay, she's here.
Because that person wasn't even here.
Anyway, good evening, everyone. I didn't have a prepared speech, but I wanted to say...
Please state your name and address for the record, Ms. Phelps. Thank you so much.
You won't play no politics with my baby girl. So y'all better get to Miss Hamilton at university.
Ms. Phelps.
I'll speak when she stops talking.
Ms. Phelps, your time is running. You must begin to speak.
I'm not going to run over. I'll say what I have to say. Ms. Johnson, please. Thank you. Cornelia Phelps, 39 Bach Avenue. I don't have any gripes, and I'm happy to not have any gripes. I'd actually like to say that, you know, in anticipation of the new school year, I was not too optimistic about class staffing or transportation. However, everything did get off to a good start, and it's going well. And I just had one suggestion, considering the fact that, you know, pickup time for the school bus for special needs students, there's a window, maybe a 20-minute window for pickup, which is not a problem if on a given day or every day we're not having some adversity. So, you know, for a parent like myself with a special needs student, if there's a morning when we can't get ready on time and I have to tell the bus to leave, fortunately, myself and my husband can do the school drop-off, but I know that parents don't all have cars. I know that parents aren't that close to their children's school, and so I was thinking all day that perhaps there could be a late bus or some sort of accommodation so that children who are not ready between 7:30 can still make it on time if we could call for a later pickup or something like that, so that they're not missing out on a day of academics because they're, you know, not having a good start up in the morning. That was my only suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Phelps. Next speaker, Saphir Jenkins. Mr. Jenkins, if you have something for the board, you can give it to the Ms. Nancy or Ms. Martha.
Good evening, Newark Board and Superintendent. This is Saphir Jenkins, 107 Hansberry Avenue. I am going to be reading a statement from the Parent Leaders Education Policy Collaborative on the Newark Board of Education's speaker ban proposal. The Parent Leaders Education Policy Collaborative, hereafter known as PLEPSI, is a group of Newark parents and stakeholders who lead organizations that actively engage parents in systems change. PLEPSI members coalesce around issues related to education policy in order to bring about resolutions to issues of hindrance to progress and equity for Newark students. To members of Newark Board of Education, the return of local control to Newark's Board of Education after 20 years of state control has provided the residents, stakeholders, and elected officials of Newark Public Schools with an opportunity to transform our district with local voices at the forefront. As parent leaders, all of us have been involved in both advocacy at the school level to push for equity and access for all, and at the systems level to challenge policies and practices that did not allow us to meet that end goal. State control of our schools was one of the greatest barriers, and the members of PLEPSI have been in the fight to see our schools returned to our hands for over a decade. It is the belief of the PLEPSI that all voices, including the ideas, concerns, and vision of educators, parents, students, residents, and partners, must not only be invited, but encouraged. Effective engagement is not just a matter of practice, but also of policy. After 20 years of state control, there is a need to build engagement in the democratic process and policies that create guidelines to do so. There is a need to ensure that elected officials governing our schools can hear from parents, students, educators, and community members both compliments and criticisms. There is a need to reestablish a culture of trust and civic engagement in education. School board meetings are the most meaningful way for residents to communicate with board members and the general public regarding matters concerning our children and schools. For this reason, the Newark PLEPSI hereby implores the Newark Board of Education not to adopt such a ban policy. The board should not, at this juncture in our return to local control, establish policies and practices that could negatively influence the democratic process. The board should not, with newfound powers of local control, use that power to censor or punish those who are actively seeking to be heard. With engagement in public education so minimal as it is important that we not alienate the voices of those that helped us to gain local control in the first place. After decades of miseducation and failures by the school system, state, and nation to take care of children living in communities such as ours, it is more than appropriate for people to be stern at school board meetings. The historical neglect imposed upon our children in schools by those wishing to diminish our greatest resource, particularly most recently under state control, has consequences.
Mr. Jenkins, your time is up. Thank you very much for speaking tonight.
Thank you, and everyone has a copy of the letter. I would ask that you kindly read it and
We'll ensure that.
Legal references on page 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Next speaker, Denise Cole. Denise Cole, are you present? Ms. Cole, it's your turn. She's coming.
Doesn't mean that they have our children's best interests at heart. She's not focusing on a sweater. At university, the Tamils. I don't care who she relates to. She could be related to God.
One of the problems with this board that's up there now, they truly are elected, but we never seen them before they got on the slate they were on and engaged in our school system. Even the chief counsel, she's not even part of our community, and she sits there and allows them to be disrespectful. Josephine, I think you should start practicing letting parents finish. Your job is to sit here. You only do business 2 days a week. To let a parent or an organization finish reading what they need to read is not going to keep you here any longer. Just follow Jersey City's guidelines. But right now, I want to read something to you. It says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That comes from the Declaration for States. That means that this board right here with the declaration also say that if you are hostile to the community, we have a right to get rid of all of you. And we're gonna start that process, because this board right here, you can sit there and be quiet, but to be disrespectful to parents that come up here, that was here before you all even got elected, that worked for local control, and all you do is sit here and take credit because you do no work. Miss Nelms do most of the work for the transition plan. Half of you don't even know what the transition plan. I read the transition plan. For me to go to schools and schools to lock out parents and for administrators to be disrespectful to parents is because of the leadership. Look what you do here. If you start at the top, because I'm a captain in the military, I'm a leader. I lead by example. I show respect. I show my people that there's nothing I would ask them to do that I wouldn't do. Show us the same respect that we've always shown this community. We've been there fighting for local control. You got local control right now because of us. And then we get up here to talk to you about issues, and then you act like you don't know. Like this lady get up here and talk about testing for our children and in our schools, and not one of you asked her a question. You got people in the audience saying, well, what does that testing mean to test to go into high school? If they fail the test, well, where do they go? Well, how do you select them from the test? And why is the test being administered? Those are questions you board members supposed to be asking for the public, so we don't have to ask those those questions. But you sit up there like you don't know what you're doing because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know that you don't know. And when people like me try to train you on the policy and point to the policy, then you sit here and have Chiefs Counsel issue me an illegal warning lesson because I ain't begging to come up here and talk. I'm not begging if I go over my time worrying about her banning me. You can't ban me from an open public meeting unless I pose a threat to anybody in here or harm, and I never do that. I respect you, you're gonna respect us, but right now, I am asking that you all start respecting the parents that come here, because we worked hard for you to be where you are, and you sitting up here jumping in front of cameras and posing like I need to be posing because I was here for the last 21 years when the state took over, fighting for us to get this back, working hard, and I give my all day down in the net the last 3 weeks with parents, going to schools, getting the kids registered, using my car. I've been down in the net all day today, working with parents, but y'all don't want to hear that. We can't come here and tell you that because they don't want you to know that. There's a crisis in our school now because this board right here don't know they don't know, and they don't even know policy.
Jamarius Renoir, next speaker. Next speaker, Jean Roper. Jean Roper. I'm sorry, Vanessa Roper. Mr. Roper has been given an accommodation tonight. He will have 5 minutes for speaking time because of his disability. Take your time, Mr. Roper.
Good afternoon, Advisory Board, or good evening, Advisory Board. Superintendent Leon, to everyone that is here today. I would just like to say today I asked for accommodations, and I was told that there was a ramp. I was told that there was some steps with a banister, and when I got here there was none. And so they did get a wheelchair, and they did get me to the auditorium, but we have to do better than this. If we can't accommodate parents, how in the world are we going to accommodate children?
I can't hear the speaker.
Excuse me, Miss Johnson, we're trying to hear Mr. Roper, please. Thank you. Please, can you guys go out in the hallway and speak, please? Poor Mr. Roper, what a shame.
Madam Chair, can we pause the speaker's time so that he can...
Rob, we can thank you.
Can I continue?
Yes, Mr. Roper.
Well, let's just put everything on the board. My name is Pastor Vanessa Roper. I am a parent and student advocate. My address is 54 North 11th Street, Newark, New Jersey. And I'll say to the parents here on today that the request that you've made is minute. You should be able to get everything you want. You can't ask parents to pay for what the district, you can't ask parents to put on our children what the district does not provide. My daughter had a parent liaison last year in her building at American History High School and sit up there and got kids in trouble and halfway suspended. Her son was in the same building and never wore a uniform any day of last year. And the administration did absolutely nothing, and I even reported it to the district, and you guys did absolutely nothing in regard to that parent liaison child not wearing a uniform every day. So let's be truthful here. And I'm going to tell Dr. Leon, and I'm going to tell this board, for those who fought for local control, I'm going to say this to you, the state is watching. I'm going to say this because it's true. I'm here to talk about special education. Let me get on here with some stuff with Horton. I reported to the Assistant Superintendent in the North Region that you had staff members going to school, coming to school late, and Cronin in, and was changing the Cronin reports. They was getting to school late, and they had people logging back into the computer to change what time they got to school. I reported to the North Region Assistant Superintendent, and he's not doing anything. I reported that they had private reports that they applications called SWIFT, discipline application. Asked them, did the district know about it? They did not. This principal did a horrible job and was rewarded with a job at Elliott Street School. What's going on here?
That's right, politics.
Now, listen, there was some African-American principal that was mistreated here last year. Let me be clear. Now, you have some Spanish principals. Listen, my children's grandmother is Spanish, so there's no racism here, you guys. But let me say this to you. You're not treating the Spanish principal, you can turn the microphone back up. You're not treating the Spanish principal like you're treating the African-American principal. You got to use the same ruler to measure the same inch.
That's right.
Now, I'm here to talk about special education. Now, I would like to ask this board, and I don't want to ask you nothing because you're not going to reply, but I would like to know why there's not a special education committee.
That's right.
I would like to know, and I'm asking you, Dr. Leon, why is there not a special education committee on the advisory board? Why is there not special education committee I'm talking with the director and the deputy? Why are there not no one managing these case managers? Why are the supervisors and the central not going into these buildings, making sure our children are getting the services and the resources that you're lying about on their IEPs?
Because they're taking pictures.
So I'm here, I'm asking, and I'm giving you information of what's going on with special education. And the high school, your child is getting absolutely nothing. Your child is getting Reading 180 or System 44. The high school don't even have resource teachers. Let's be clear with this. The district fired them all. And then they lie and tell the teachers to teach differentiated instruction when they're supposed to have a regular ed teacher and a special ed teacher, and they have absolutely nothing. The only thing you're using special education for in this district is for payroll.
Right.
Why is JFK and 13th Avenue School? Why is schools in East Newark getting more money than JFK and 13th Avenue School? I ask this board, are we practicing racism? 13th Avenue School have had the most special. You even transport your kids from the east they don't have to take those tests and put them in 13th Avenue, and guess what you give them? Nothing. What's going on with special education? Let me tell you, parents, we need to understand this. You need to understand that special education, you can file emergency relief, you can file for mediation, you can file for due process hearing, you can file a complaint with the commissioner, you can file a Title II, and with the Department of Justice. Newark, listen, I filed mine.
Mr. Roper, your time is up.
And
Thank
I'm
you
saying,
so
and let
much
me
for
tell you something
speaking.
too, ma'am. You need to represent your board better.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roper.
To parents.
Thank you, Mr. Roper.
And I will be back. And I will be here when you're gone.
Next speaker, Sharon Smith. Not appearing. Next speaker, Edward McDowell. Good evening. Edward McDowell. State your name and address for the record, Mr. McDowell.
My name is Edward McDowell, 240 South 7th Street. Here today before you on behalf of my program. I work for one of your community partners, Focus Enrichment Program. We're based at 3 of your sites in Newark, Cleveland, Sussex, and Lincoln. I'm here to speak for my part of the program especially. I'm the fencing instructor for that site. I started this program a few years ago in Newark Public Schools, teaching the after-school programs, things like that, just to see what the interest with students would be. And not only did the students that I had stuck, I started acquiring more and more and more. Focus does provide basic equipment for me to train the children and teach them, but they've outgrown that equipment. We have children as young as 7th grade are ready for competition on a national level. I was recently contacted, which made me kick in the overdrive. I was contacted by Commissioner Fencing of New York. He's a friend of mine from my competition days. He's starting a team for Long Island University, based in Brooklyn. He contacted me personally and offered my students scholarships. He said, yo, as soon as they're high school, they're juniors, they're seniors, send them my way. I'll make sure their grades are good, and we'll make sure they get in, they get that money. What I'm coming to the board today is just asking for support with this. I'm soliciting all factors, any type of resource I can reach. Our kids need equipment, they need fencing machines, they need fencing shoes, they need tournament fees, travel costs. I do what I can with my budget, but you know, I'm only one person, and like I said, I have hundreds of students across Newark now looking forward to fencing. I was also contacted by the athletic advisor at Central High School. I've been in contact with her on trying to restart and build a team there as well. As soon as I walk through the door, some of my former students run up to me like, "Oh, you're here. We're getting fencing, right?" So the interest is there. The children are more than talented enough. Like I said, I myself competed at a national level, had much success. I've traveled all over the country, Junior Olympics, all types of success, went to college. My last tournament, I was the Garden State champion. The children are probably more talented than I am and at this phase of their careers. So I'm just looking for your support and let you know what we're doing. We also do the summer program at First Avenue, so it's all over Newark. It's not just in one centralized location. Thank you.
Madam Chair. Thank you very much, Mr. McDowell. Next speaker. Madam Chair. We have his contact information. Okay. Next speaker, Julissa Vasquez.
Julissa Vasquez, Littleton Avenue. I want to start off by saying that I'm happy this school year is starting off good at Camden Street School. I'm happy what they're doing. I see we have a new principal at Barringer High School. Great. Let's start off that the second week of school, he sent out a paper introducing himself as a new principal, and he was going to follow what the principal last year was doing. I hope he means academics, since he starts doing the uniform issue again with the sweaters. So that's why I agree with Yolanda. Sweater matching the uniform, that's not going to roll with me or other parents. Because there should not be no point in my daughter, my son, wearing a royal blue sweater, and I got to get purchase a royal blue sweater. If it's like that, let Newark Public School purchase if it's like that. If that's your rules, because I'm not going to go because he has a black, red, blue sweater and purchase it because they want me the certain colors. That should not matter. The sweater he's wearing or the uniform should not matter. They're there to get educated. Point blank. At open house, the principal at Barringer High School introduced himself as the new principal, introduced the VPs. One thing that happened, much as he tried to speak Spanish to let parents know about the lunch application, there was parents there upset because they couldn't understand what he was saying. He should have had a translator for those parents that understand Spanish. At Barringer High School also, with these robocalls, you have them calling constantly at these parents' house. They're calling the secretaries at Barringer and they're getting frustrated, cursing them out, saying, well, why I'm receiving these calls that my child's not in school, but the child is in school. So we have to work on those robocalls. We need to fix that issue because I even get them. My kids are in school. So we need to fix the issues of these robocalls. The secretaries at Barringer are getting frustrated. We need to try to figure that out. And we need to more reading for these kids. More reading, more phonics. Back in the days, we had lots of phonics. We need to start with these phonics for students, especially the kids that are in high school. There's a lot of students in high schools now that they cannot read. Then the issue becomes once they graduate, jobs. They're not going to get hired because if you don't know how to read or write, you're not going to get hired. You know where we're going to see them? In the corner. And then the city will complain, well, why that person is out the corner if they got a high school diploma. We need to prefer our education better. And we need to work out the situation with the uniform because that's something that it goes in every high school, even in middle school. Even in elementary, my daughter go to Camden, she said, I can't wear this color sweater because it has to be navy blue. And I tell my answers like, I don't care what the principal, the teacher says over there, you're gonna wear what I put on. Because unless that Newark Public School is gonna purchase it, I'm gonna put on what I want her to put on.
Thank you very much, Ms. Vasquez. Next speaker, Shania Thomas. Not appearing. Next speaker, Sheila Montague.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Montague.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I have a few concerns, and I guess it's going to start with the banning of the parents that I heard about. This is a practice that I don't suggest even get started, much less continue. The parents are what fuels our education here in this city, as like many other urban areas. And instead of worrying about banning parents, I just want to add a few points of suggestions that hopefully you guys will consider. Number one, when parents come in to express their concerns, first of all, there's no correct way to really do that. Especially as African Americans, we don't owe anybody an apology for not speaking a quote unquote King's English, because when we were made to come over here, we all spoke with a different tongue. And should I not remind you that the English language is one that has been derived and robbed from a bunch of other languages, inclusive of but not limited to German, Latin, etc. Which brings me to the next point that I'm here tonight. A concern about this Ebonics curriculum versus artificial intelligence in the community. I don't know what this is about. It's something that I saw floating around in media in terms of teaching kindergartners the way that Black people speak. Yeah, African American, I don't know what that's about, and I need to make an inquiry to get more about that because I couldn't get any facts. I'm going to continue to come back, and I'm going to follow this up with an email of documentation also, because that's problematic. The next thing I wanted to talk about was stripping people of their democratic voice. The same thing that I noticed is going on here is also going on at a municipal level, and we can't continue or even start or just initiate the practices of stopping people from sharing their thoughts and feelings. The kids are what pays a salary. Without any kids in the district, no one gets paid. The whole thing runs off that, so this doesn't make sense. On the money issue, I want to also talk about the $310 million in terms of the infrastructure costs that we allegedly don't have, that they're saying is missing. If I'm right about the numbers, I'm not sure. But at any rate, how are we missing that much money when we have a budget committee, right, that's supposed to be following the money? And this primarily takes place when you have people who really can't read or write, sitting over budget, and now we're going to ask why we have a deficit. Something is wrong with that picture, and we need to check it out. Next thing, preparing our kids includes teaching them some things about drone technology. I also want to know why our kids in the Newark district don't all have laptops now, because we have the money to do so. Especially as a homeowner, you're talking about raising my taxes again for not the fifth year in a row. The curriculum, does it teach middle school yet about writing laws and policy and economics? Is it talking about Bitcoin currency? Is it talking about entrepreneurship? Because once that starts in the middle school, then when people come here to talk about issues, maybe they can speak from a point of strength and not annoy you guys so that y'all are sitting there on the phone half the time, not paying attention to the people that come in here. And lastly, when you get the ropers back here at the mic, you know you're messing up. You know you're messing up. In terms of what he mentioned, I just want to reiterate about special education real fast.
Time is up, Ms. Montague.
Make
Thank
sure
you so much.
that we are launching the same campaign we launched for attendance. Launching that campaign to keep good teachers here so that they don't want to leave the district, and they give our kids some consistency.
Can you please approach the podium, Mr. Kevin Sanek? It's your turn.
And I think that was really rude. I think that was really rude of you to do. But I'll deal with you on another level.
On another level.
Good evening. My name's Kevin Snack. I'm a teacher over at Eastside.
Eastside High School.
Just wanted to first say thanks to the board for your work and your efforts. Specifically wanted to mention that you defended immigrants. As a teacher at Eastside, it's a big important it's important for me to defend the immigrant community. Declaring schools a sanctuary, I really appreciate that. Just wanted to say I appreciate what has been done with the lead in the water. That's definitely one of the main issues I wanted to focus on tonight. And I appreciate the information that was given this evening. I thought it was very informative as far as the number of filters, the number of tests that's been done, schools that have been tested, and the frequency of the testing. Again, I think those are all important things that I appreciate. I think that it would, as I think someone already has mentioned, it would be better if we got some clarity as to exactly what schools have been tested, what are the levels. I mean, just a quick Google search online, you can see that in 16, 17, there was pretty detailed information as to exactly what, what fountains were tested, what floor, their location, and so on. So I just think that it would be nice if we could get a similar level of detail of testing information, if only for the sake of consistency. And just along the lines again about the water issue, I think that it would be good to have just more explicit education about the sources, effects of lead waste to mitigate and remediate lead. I mean, I'm not saying nothing has been done. I have seen the flyers, postings, and I think it's good. It's just, I think, again, considering that it is an issue that is increasingly problematic, we need to be doing more to address it as teachers and as people who are in contact with those who are most at risk, the youth, right? So maybe ways that we can achieve that end might be potentially having a lead water debate to encourage civic engagement and also, again, increase understanding and awareness of exactly what are the issues when it comes to lead and how we should address it, what we are doing to address it. Also, maybe we should have more testing at the schools, whether it be not just, not just testing of the fountains, but also distribution potentially of testing kits for the houses or the residents, but also lead testing or blood testing at the schools. From what I understand, that's something that was done in the past. I know they're doing it at University Hospital, but again, I feel like it's something that we should be doing at the schools, considering its centrality in the neighborhoods, and potentially getting some independent research or, independent testing on the issue. I think that Newark really can be this model that shows exactly how to address the issue, so long as it's focusing on the youth and focusing on doing what's best for the students as opposed to just having a good image. And again, I would like to reiterate or support what people have said about the need for focus on special needs. I think that even though there's definitely some good teachers I know in special needs, something that clearly is under-resourced, and it really is just painful to see students who really can be excelling not excel because they just don't have enough support. So I would certainly strongly second that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for speaking. Next speaker, Nina Page. Nina Page.
Yes, Nina Page, 65 Voorhees Street. Good evening, Superintendent Leon and board members. I'm here to address some issues that I'm having at American History High. My son attends there, he's a junior, and he has AP English. And in this class, the students are being taught out of a 2012 textbook. That's ridiculous, okay? Especially for an AP class. He worked really hard to get there. The teacher is resourceful and working with what she has, but she needs up-to-date materials, up-to-date textbooks. How do we expect, the students to pass, tests with outdated things? Also, I'm concerned that there's only one chemistry teacher at American History. This chemistry teacher doesn't even have a sink in his classroom. How is he supposed to do labs in his class? Another concern of mine is that, let's just say my son is in honors chemistry too, and he worked, again, hard to get into this class. How do we expect the students to do better when they don't have better? Also, you have teachers there that have not even taught certain subjects before, and they are outside of their subject. Example, a social studies teacher shouldn't be teaching a constitutional family law class. Y'all have to do better. Lastly, the issue with bus tickets. Every year it's the same thing. Parents being upset about their child or children not meeting the requirements to receive bus tickets. Myself, being one of the parents, didn't know that I could contact my community engagement specialist and write a rebuttal stating my hardship until I was venting to another parent, and then I was informed that way. Parents need to be informed about their rights. Yes, they should seek out information, but sometimes parents don't know how to, or they don't know where to go. How many parents know their community engagement specialist or that they exist in the role that they play? Stop playing with these parents and start helping them. You say parents are welcome in the schools, show them. Give them workshops about their rights. Help them help themselves and their children. It's not just the parents that don't feel welcomed in the schools. The PTAs and the PTOs aren't feeling welcome either. I don't think it's, sorry. Well, that's okay, I'm not gonna go over.
Thank you so much, Ms. Page. Next speaker, Deborah Smith-Gregory. Not a, okay, she's here? Oh, there she is. Another one? Here, use your school list stuff.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Or use your agenda stuff that you're not gonna read.
Because they still being bullied, they're still fighting, they're still hyping on each other.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Deborah Smith-Gregory. I serve as president of the Newark branch NAACP. And I was just, all of these pages, I just needed to start with this. All of these pages, the board minutes were thrown on the table. There's no rubber band around them. The pages aren't numbered. And all of these pages here are instructional reclassifications, promotions, hires. People cannot really get a full effect of this because it's out of order. And so I'm going to start with out of order. There are 3 documents. This is specific to the board and the student rep. There are 3 documents that I want to bring to your attention. The first one is the Pathway to Local Control, the Newark Education Success Board report. And in this report, it was published by the Newark Education Success Board to support the work of you as you transitioned from a local control board to a public control board. And in it, the area of focus under family and community engagement, adopt a school district vision that drives family and community engagement, notes that there should be a focus on high levels of learning, and that communicates the district's commitment in engaging the total school community. That does not mean banning the community when the board does not like what is being said. The stakeholders include parents, grandparents, aunties, extensions, community activists, business, and alumni who care about the children, all of the children. To ban a person from the meetings is in direct opposition to the democracy that was embraced, that is cautiously being embraced by this country as we speak. So this is something that I would recommend that you revisit. It says it is not a document to sit on the shelf. Please take it and open it and read it and discuss it with one another, especially the new board members. The second publication is called Envisioning the Future of Newark Public Schools, Excellent Neighborhood Schools for All. And this was published by the community stakeholders in May 2014. And in it, it talks about vacancies and talks about small class size. So when we have a student, this is the second student from American history, and it's not to point the finger at American history, it's to show that this is an issue across the district, vacancies. And these vacancies, while a lot of these people have been hired and there's been a lot of reconfigurating and reclassification, we have to do better now with the vacancies. And Chairperson Josephina Garcia, I will make sure that I put this in writing, but I ask that I get a written response. I still await a response from my letter, August 20th, 2019, from the business board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Smith-Gregory. Next speaker, Maureen Robinson. Maureen Robinson? I'm here. Okay. There she is. Can't see.
Greetings, Maureen Robinson, Union, New Jersey. Well, this is where my 360-degree circle started 18 years ago in the Newark Public School District. It's been a long and challenging, bittersweet journey, but I survived. During my tenure here in the Newark School District, I've advocated for the rights of students and teachers, and I've participated in many protests and marches for local control. At no time have I ever disrespected this board or any of your predecessors. If the Lord delays his coming for me on Friday, September the 27th, 2019, I'll be 78 years old officially. Thank you. Thank you. So I leave you with this message. I shall pass this way but once. Any good that I can do or any kindness I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and the rains fall soft upon your fields. If and until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
Ms. Robinson, why don't you come on, thank you, Madam President. Come on up here. Let's give Ms. Robinson a very big round of applause. We want to take a picture with you. Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for 54 years dedication to education with Ms. Robinson, all right? A very important milestone.
Next speaker, Pamela Threets. Yes, she's giving. No, you give it to Miss Nancy. What's she talking about?
Who's next?
Right there, she's giving it to Martha and Nancy, the paperwork. What's her name? Pamela Threets. That's ridiculous. In City Hall? Ms. Johnson, let's allow Ms. Threets to speak. Thank you so much.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Threets.
My name is Pamela Scott Threets. I reside at 209 Prospect Street, apartment 105 in East Orange, New Jersey. I will happily say that I am 53 years out of high school. I am a product of the Newark school system. I have previously been employed as a substitute teacher and substitute nurse in the Newark school system. And I'm a past alumni board member of the Weequahic High School Alumni Association. My purpose in coming here tonight is to discuss the extracurricular activities. When I was a kid going to school in Newark, and I was also a student here at Southside High School, one of the things that made our days better was fine arts, home ec, shop, music, commercial art, shop. Those are the things that sometimes create the balance for the students versus all of the reading, writing, arithmetic, mathematics, and now computer science. But here's the thing, and this is the first thing that I'm going to address because I plan to be at a few more board meetings. Tonight, there were two presentations by the Weequahic High School Band and the Southside Malcolm X Shabazz Band. Now, from what I learned, a band is comprised of percussion, woodwind, brass. What was presented by the students tonight, and this is not to knock them down, is more of a drum corps versus a band. So I ask, where are the woodwinds, the brass, and other instruments that are part of a band? The only instruments that would not be part of a band are your strings. That's the first thing. The next thing is, when the students participate in extracurricular activities like sports, they need to be on time, in appropriate uniform, participate, and set an example for the students that they are part of, be mentors, because you all now have bands, percussion groups that are representing a whole integral part of grades. So those older students need to be mentors to the younger ones. I didn't know that Eagle Academy was part of NPS. I know that they reside at Weequahic High School, at least they were last year, but I never knew that Eagle Academy was part of us. So as I'd learned tonight, they're part of the band. Maybe we need to relook at that because there are probably other kids that need to be part of. Additionally, the kids need to learn theoretical music. They need to be able to read music, not just play by ear. I do play an instrument. My parents played, my mother 7 and my father 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Threets. Next speaker, Patience Roberts. ¿Cómo el apellido de este? Next speaker, Thomas Ibiang. Not appearing. Next speaker, Lyndon Brown. Not appearing, and that concludes our speakers list for the night.
Madam Chair.
We're not. Okay. Board Member Norton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So may I request that when acronyms are being presented during public meetings, that we describe what those acronyms mean and what they're associated with. It's something that we are, as board members, used to hearing, but as people come to meetings here and there, they might not be so familiar with those acronyms. And so I do request that when acronyms are being used during presentations, that we elaborate their meaning.
Which acronyms are you referring to, Board Member Norton?
Just certain things. So like it could be about like PSATs that people might not be familiar with that, or even Salesforce. That's not an acronym, but just different things so the public can be able to be a part of the conversation.
HBC. Thank you very much, Board Member Norton. We'll take that into consideration. Ms. Liz, if you can continue.
We need a motion on items in Finance and Operations 13.0. That is 13.1 through 13.22 on the agenda. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Ms. Norton, second?
Second.
Ms. Anderson? Any discussion by board members?
Madam President.
Board Member Bledsoe.
Just for item for the tuition 13.3, in the resolution, the number of students are not listed. So I'm asking how many students are we paying tuition for?
Ms. Wilson, if you may.
Because it's not in the
Yes, the funding for the special education for the tuition contracts.
There.
105 students.
Who said 105?
Who said that?
Ms. Deering.
Okay.
Ms. Granado.
Ms. Granado has helped me out and said 105 students. It includes regional day and some other out-of-district students. These are special needs. You want to come to the mic, Ms.
Granado, can you come to the
please?
podium and address the board? Thank you very much.
Hey, how are you? Hi, good evening, Board. Yes, we have 105 Newark Public School students at New Jersey Regional Day. There's a total of 122 students there, but New Jersey Regional Day is an out-of-district students for surrounding towns. Out-of-district placement for surrounding town.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you very much, Ms. Granado. Board Member Bledsoe.
Thank you, Ms. Granado.
Any other discussion? We'll have a roll call. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bledsoe?
Yes.
Ms. Gomez? She's still
She's
here?
absent.
No.
Ms. Hill is not here. Ms. Haynes is not here. Ms. Murray Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Padilla?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we need a motion to adopt the items in Category 14.0, General Counsel. That is items 14.1, or 14.2 and 14.3.
Move it.
Motion, Tave. Board Member Padilla.
Mr. Padilla? Second.
Norton.
Ms. Norton? Any discussion? Any questions by board members? We'll have a roll call. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bledsoe?
Yes.
Ms. Murray Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Padilla?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Yes.
So we have 6 people here. Next, we need a motion on items 15.0 personnel. That is 15.1 through 15.7.
please.
Motion.
Still say hi.
Ms. Norton?
Second.
Ms. Anderson? Any discussion by board members?
Yes, Madam President.
Board Member Bledsoe.
Just really quickly, I know that there's a number of data sharing, applications that are on the agenda. I just want to make sure that we're ensuring the safety of student data and student records.
This is personnel.
Absolutely. When we get to that item, absolutely. And anything, all you're approving is our discretion, so we'll withdraw anything that we think is not something that's suitable. Right?
Thank you.
All right.
Any other discussion on 15.1 through 15.7?
16-8.
We're on 15.
We're on 15.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. List. I'm sorry.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bledsoe?
Yes.
Ms. Murray Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Norton?
Just to clarify, it's 15.1 to 15.7.
Yes, 15.1 is just the heading, actually. It's 15.1 through 7, including the heading.
8.
Is there an 8? Okay. 15.1 through 15.8, thank you.
Yes.
What's that say? Yeah.
We'll start the roll call again. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bledsoe?
Yes.
Ms. Murray Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Padilla?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we need a motion on the items under 16.0, that is program and instruction, items 16.1
Motion.
through 16.8, according to the paper.
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Anderson, and second by Mr. Bledsoe.
Madam Chair.
It was motioned by.
Wait, guys.
Murray Thomas.
Ms. Murray Thomas made the motion, Mr. Bledsoe
Madam Chair.
made seconded.
By Bledsoe. Can we finish the roll call before we begin the questions? Thank you very much, so
Okay, we
Ms.
have a-
Liz can record accordingly.
Thank you. We have a motion by Ms. Murray Thomas, and I believe it was seconded by Mr. Bledsoe.
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion by board members?
Board Member Murray Thomas.
It should be acknowledged that item 16.4 has been removed from the agenda upon the need for further investigation as it relates to.
No, we're not removing it. Superintendent Leon?
As I said, it should be noted that item 16.4 is going to be tabled upon further investigation around data information, data agreements for.
We just had that discussion, Board Member Murray Thomas. We are not tabling or removing the item. We're approving it, and the superintendent and his staff will review the documents. Anything that is not data-driven, where they're going to release information, they will pull it and report it out to the board. Correct, Board Member
Madam
Bledsoe?
Chair, respectfully, I believe the board chair should be informed of this because before.
We had this discussion earlier.
And was the committee chair of P&I in that discussion? That said, this requires more information. We discussed this amongst district staff. So my motion therefore will be to pull it upon myself and the committee getting more information on the privacy data.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why it was going to be pulled was because of the inquiry that Mr. Bledsoe had, this is what my understanding was, that the reason why it was being pulled was because of an inquiry and concerns that Mr. Bledsoe had raised. And part of the conversations that we had and what Mr. Bledsoe just indicated was that his concern is something that we're addressing. So he can pull it, it'll just delay what we're doing. But the concern that he had is something that I agree with his concern. We wouldn't be sharing information that's going to compromise students or anything like that. So to the chair's point, it's to your discretion, but the concern is one that if we need to further clarify why we shouldn't be concerned, we can table it for that reason. But I don't want you to table it because you think we're going to share any of the information that, like Mr. Bledsoe indicated. He's clear now, which is what I appreciated. I didn't know you had questions about it, because then I would have said something to you.
Thank you, Superintendent.
Either way, I'm good.
In response to, thank you for your clarification. At the same time, this was a question that was lifted up to the Deputy Superintendent, to Dr. Riley. We had a conversation about this previously, just for the committee to get more clarity as it relates to a particular clause in the MOU. So, and just procedurally, it doesn't seem alarming or problematic to request that information, to have that information be reviewed by the committee chair that was requested prior to this meeting, and then to discuss. In terms of there being a delay, to my understanding, this particular resolution isn't slated to be implemented until January of 2020. So it's my motion that her requested, the committee chair of program and instruction, myself, receives the clarity that I asked for.
So we're going to modify the motion, and moving forward, if you can please CC me as board chair and president, so I'm aware of what's going on. We thought that I was under the assumption that the question was coming from board member Bledsoe. I wasn't sure that, you know, it came out of your committee or yourself as chair of that committee. So please keep myself and Vice Chair Haynes in the loop so we know what's going on. So if we want to modify the motion, please.
So what's going on?
We have a motion and a second, and during discussion, there's been a suggestion to modify the motion. Is that acceptable to whoever made the motion?
So what's the modification to pull?
Modification is to withdraw 16.4.
Okay. I mean, who made the original motion?
Ms. Norton.
Murray Thomas.
I'm with it. Second.
Ms. Norton.
I have a question.
Board Member Norton.
What is there any repercussions for the delay of this being voted on this month versus next month?
And can you repeat that?
I want to know if there's what the holdup, the repercussions would be if we do not vote on this item tonight versus if we wait until next month to vote on.
So it definitely, oh my God. It definitely can wait. It is the platform that allows students and staff to be able to view all of the publications and books as part of the Newark Public Libraries partnership. But it does delay them being able to do that.
So are we clear that we're going to delay
Students from getting.
We're not delaying students.
In the interest of, Madam Chair, respectfully, in the interest of being fully reflective of what Deputy Johnson shared, as she initially stated, it can wait. It is not particularly harmful to the initiative to vote on this the next month. Frankly, this is a relatively small request, just for clarity on one issue as it relates to the MOU. So I just have to share my confusion around the difficulty in asking for more information, but I look forward to, thank you for passing the motion. Thank you for the board for passing the motion in relates to modifying and doing.
We haven't had a vote
Voting
yet.
on the motion, excuse me, making the resolution.
But she's under the assumption that there's not.
Madam President.
Board Member Norton.
Is it possible that we just pull the item and put it under 17.0 versus? Can we pull the item and put it under 17.0 and then board members vote on it separately?
Well, that would be a separate motion to modify the motion. Is that your request?
So are you asking to put that item on the items pulled from the consent agenda? Okay. I mean, Madam Chair, do you want a motion?
You guys want to put a motion? Want to just put a motion?
It's a motion to modify the motion that's already been made, and we can vote on that separately if there's a second. Does everybody understand? There's been a motion to modify Ms. Murray Thomas's motion on 16.0. If there's a second on Ms. Norton's motion, we can vote on whether to remove that from 16.0 and put it under the items pulled from consent.
I just want to be
17.0.
clear. The recommendation of the deputy superintendent is what?
The recommendation is to vote on it tonight so that the students and staff have
So
access to the library.
either we're going to vote or not vote. I'll pull it. And y'all deal with the repercussions of that. So it's either you yes or you know it. It's either an up or a down vote. And this wishy-washy
Can we do
stuff-
roll call, please, to see where they're at, board members?
Can you repeat the motion again?
Repeat the motion, Ms. Liss, and roll call.
The motion that's pending is Ms. Murray Thomas's motion to adopt 16.0 program and instruction, and as I understand the modification, to withdraw 16.4 from the list of items under 16.0. Is that correct?
It was, Deputy Counsel, under the understanding that a conversation was previously had, and again, it's unclear why this is requiring so much getting in the weeds when the simple question is, can we get more insight as it relates to one particular clause on the MOU? If that is a concern, however, in terms of this being a severe delay to the actual program, which in my conversation, it wasn't, right? But if that is an issue, then I am content with voting on this item with the clause and the exception of making sure that the particular question that I asked prior to this board meeting be answered as it relates to simply the clause on privacy. Thank you.
So the motion is pending.
1 second.
Superintendent Leon.
With that. So my understanding is that what Ms. Murray Thomas has indicated now is in a similar way to what I understood is addressing Mr. Bledsoe's concern. And I agree that her statement is what should be understood about 16.4. In voting for it, we're not going to obviously be sharing information beyond the data sharing agreement as noted, nor would we, let's say that there's something written in there that later gets reviewed, we would take the discretion of not sharing information, redacting it, things of that nature. So I just want to make it clear that her concern is what we will adhere to.
Roll call vote, Brenda?
Okay.
Thank you, Superintendent.
We'll take a vote. We'll take a roll call.
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
I'm sorry, Council, can you just remind the board what exactly we're voting on right this second?
We are voting on all of the items under 16.0 program and instruction, that is 16.1 through 16.8, including 16.4.
Yeah.
Thank you, Council.
But so I just want to be clear, and that is with the points raised by Mr. Bledsoe and the chair of P&I, okay?
And for clarity, the point that was raised prior to this meeting by the chair of P&I wasn't specifically as it related, was particularly around the clause of advertisements as it relates to the data sharing agreement, which is slightly different than what Board Member Bledsoe had lifted up, hence the reason for my question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent.
Thank you, Board Member Murray Thomas. Ms. List, roll call, please.
Have a roll call. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bledsoe?
Yes.
Ms. Murray Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Norton?
Yes.
Mr. Padilla?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Madam President?
Board Member Bledsoe?
Just a point of privilege. I just would like to acknowledge that the Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders will be honoring at their Hispanic Heritage Board Month celebration, you, our president. So I'd just like to congratulate you on your accomplishment. And
Thank you, Board Member Bledsoe.
wish you a very successful event, and I look forward to coming back and sharing that trophy with us.
You're welcome.
Present.
Board Member Norton?
Yes, so I would like to recognize the coach for track and field at Shabazz, Mr. Damian Harris. He's in the running for the 2019 Hometown Hero Award, and so I definitely would encourage everyone to go out and vote for him. I think there is a 15,000 or 25,000, sorry.
25.
Thank you for the correction. The 25,000 award associated if he wins. And then also, I also like to acknowledge the historicness of where we are right this second. And so back in March 27th, 1969, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stood on this stage in front of a sea of Southside students at the time. And so I definitely want to acknowledge the historicness of this place right here. Thank you.
Board Member Bledsoe?
Just really quickly, Madam President, I just would like to thank all of the security staff, the maintenance staff that are here tonight. I know often these meetings last long, but they're spending time away from their family and their friends. So I'd just like to acknowledge and thank them for that.
Board Member Murray Thomas?
Thank you, Madam President.
Board Member Marie Thomas.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank you, Madam President and the Superintendent, for acknowledging the strength and resilience of our families at Speedway. It is not lost on us that we lost the life of one of our children. And so I want to thank everyone in the community, at the school level, those whose names we may never know, who are working every day to make sure that our students feel safe and whole in the midst of an unthinkable tragedy. I also want to thank the students who both performed tonight and who spoke. You guys are reflective of the best of our district, because our babies in this district are brilliant. So we thank you for everything that you brought to this space. I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge the number of parents and community members who've expressed their thoughts on the warning letter that was sent out. I have to say I want to thank the superintendent and the board chair for and frankly, everyone in the community for holding us accountable to the truth that we proclaimed and that we were sworn in to hold dear, which is that we will value the voices of our community and our students, understanding that that may not always look pretty, but that those voices need to be heard. At the same time, it has to be done in a way that is respective of the basic values of decorum and respect that we expect here in order to conduct business. And so I thank everyone who comes to these meetings, both our students, parents, community members, those who this may be your first time being here, and those who come month after month. You make us better, and we thank you, and we are looking forward to growing and working together.
Thank you, Board Member Marie Thomas. I just want to also remind everyone in the community about our parent engagement tour. Please don't forget October 9th. Location will be Dr. William H. Horton School. Time will be from 6 to 8 p.m. Come out and meet your board members.
Madam Chair, one last thing.
Board Member Norton, after Board Member Norton, that is the last question.
Don't worry, I'll make
Thank you very much. Last announcement.
Yes, and so Newark Thrive, they're having an event on October 12th, Saturday, October 12th at Speedway, and that's also the day that Howard's Homecoming is taking place, and that Shadaz High School will be playing at Howard's Homecoming. Motion.
Motion to adjourn by Ms. Norton, second by Mr. Bledsoe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight.
8:52.